Hello, I'm William Stewart. Welcome back to our verse by verse study on the book of Acts. What an exciting story. The story, history of the church from its beginning at Christ's ascension around 32, 33 AD. The date's not precisely known up until really the mature church that's obtaining the Word of God, the written Word of God through the epistles, the establishment of elders that has spread across the Roman Empire from having started as a small focal Jewish church in Jerusalem led by the apostles. And at the time of the ending of the book is around in the early 60s AD. So it makes a transition from the time of Christ to the time of the church. And as we say, it's not a book of doctrine, but there's good doctrine in it that where it is repeated in the epistles, the letters to the church from the apostles, that is what we obey. So we obey the epistles. So let's get to verse or chapter 20. We start today. This is the third missionary journey. Paul has been to Ephesus. He goes from here back into Macedonia. He seems to repeat the tour he took in the third missionary journey and into Greece. He was there 3 months and then he returned, excuse me, the same way back through Macedonia. He then went down the west coast of Asia Minor, and along the cities there we read from verses 3 to 6. So he landed at Troas from Philippi being in Greece in the northeast skinny section that butts up to Constantinople. And he went to Troas, then on the coast of Turkey, what is now Turkey, initially. It is there we focus in then. Remember, this narrative has its high level and low level aspects of the history. And we come to a story of Eutychus in verse 7. And Paul was preaching, and Eutychus, a young man, went to sleep and fell out the window. He was dead, but Paul raised him from the dead, continuing the miracles over which we've talked, showing God's compassion on Eutychus, stimulating people to believe, connecting the ministry to that of Christ, the same type of miracles, resurrection, stimulating the Jews to believe, because we know the Jews particularly wanted to see miracles from 1 Corinthians 1, the end of the chapter, last half. And Christ himself said how the Jews wanted a sign. So from there, he continues down the coast to Assos, Mytilene, Chios, Samdos, Trigolium, which is in the southwest corner of Asia Minor. And from there, then he went back to Ephesus. So he really repeats what he did in the second missionary journey, and then actually, in a sense, a third time, because he went back again through Macedonia, then adds areas that he didn't visit before along the west coast of Asia Minor. This is particularly a Greek area, the Ionic Greeks, historically. And these towns were generally prosperous, very Hellenized trading ports. So it's in Ephesus, then we get our next focused story, which we'll cover in the next video. So what have we learned here? Well, we're told it's an Ephesus to Ephesus circle or tour, and that Paul going back to Greece and coming back to where he came from and adding the Greek cities on the west coast of Asia Minor to where he has visited and preached the gospel. It shows Paul's continued commitment to grow the church and support the churches and the people to whom he's gone before. So he just didn't preach the gospel and leave. He went there and would abide and visit again and support them, helping them to grow. And that's a good example for all of us, not only to spread the gospel, but also to support those to whom we have preached and continue to teach them, and or gather around people and train them to teach those new converts as well. So it doesn't just have to be us individually. So it's a good example about how to grow the ministry, because Paul had people like Timothy and Silas and others, Titus, who joined in to work with him. So what a great joy it is to see how God used Paul and provided an example to us. We'll come to Paul's final address to the elders at Ephesus and showing the structure of the church there, but also another transition in his ministry. It's a difficult address for him, as he realizes he will probably not see them again as he goes to Jerusalem. So please join me then, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.